Three-piece wheels. Where the hell do they even come from? We've all seen them on plenty of viral cars. Where all of a sudden did they get so crazy? And what is the purpose of them even? Well, to start off, three-piece wheels mainly stem from the 70s and 80s, back when Formula One racing had specific requirements for the wheels and tire setups, and these racers were pushing the limits the best they can, using the widest and the best wheels that they could possibly fit in their car and remain in their class. So those specific racing requirements, BBS and companies like them recognized the market and started to make racing wheels specifically for the application. And thus, you now have companies like BBS, Work Wheels, and SSR still making wheels to this day. Now you see them on more than just race cars, from your everyday daily driver to show cars, having super unique wheels and have expanded. And with that expansion of these wheels have come even more brands and unique designs, such as converting a design that wasn't even made for three-piece wheels. And that's how we get into three-piece conversions. Now, the history of three-piece conversions, specifically cast conversions, are a little foggy. For information-wise, the soonest articles I could really see are on like StanceWorks, and I believe it was about 2012 to 14 era. That time is when they were started being publicly posted about on the internet, but when they first started, we don't really know. They have been around for a while. Machinists have been doing it for a very long time. So what exactly is a converted three-piece wheel? So first, obviously, we have to start off with what is exactly a three-piece wheel. So for a three-piece wheel, obviously you're gonna have three pieces. We have the lip and the barrel. And as you can tell, the face is completely missing from these wheels because you're able to remove them. And having the ability to split the face from the lip and the barrel, you're able to use different materials, you're able to use different machining processes, you're able to use different finishes, you're able to just do interesting color schemes. And you can also replace individual parts of the wheel. When you have a cast wheel, like this one right here, it's all one piece, opposed to the three pieces of a wheel. And if anything breaks, like you could see, so it had a little crack, we welded it up. But obviously with a wheel like that, you could only weld it so many times. So that's what another great advantage of a three-piece wheel and having these individual replaceable parts is that if you need to replace it, you're not replacing that whole wheel. So a lot of times, if you have a bent wheel, if you have a bent lip that's like super bent and you don't want to pay me to repair it, you want to just pay a little bit extra money and get a whole new lip. And maybe if you want a little bit bigger, you can go bigger. If you want to go smaller, you can go smaller. And now that you understand the basics of what a three-piece wheel is, we can go into what a converted three-piece wheel is. And when we specifically bring up conversions, we're referencing converting a cast wheel to a three-piece. Another key thing with three-piece conversions, you're limited to the style of wheel. Not every wheel is able to be converted, and also some wheels, the way they're shaped, you may need to leave certain parts off. So now we got a close-up of the wheel. This is the one three-piece wheel that is actually a customer of mine, and I'm polishing the lips. So I figured while the wheels are here getting polished, I'll show you guys an example of a three-piece wheel. Fun fact, this wheel was converted at least 5 or 6 years ago. Face is more than okay, has a little bit of rubbing, but that's no biggie. And as you can see, you have this little cutoff break from where that barrel was cut. Right here you can see it's just a little drop, and a lot of times they most likely pick this spot specifically to retain the valve stem hole. So a lot of times you're going to be cutting at a certain point, depending on the style, if it needs it for structure-wise, or even if it needs it just to line up the valve stem. These wheels specifically are for a Honda Odyssey, I think they are. They're definitely a Honda. I honestly don't know, and that's what's really awesome about three-piece conversion. Even someone like me that knows wheels very well, you're gonna really confuse the hell out of them. Some of you may ask, why? Why would you go through the hassle of taking a perfectly good wheel and cutting it, which is kind of ironic because that's, you know, reinventing a wheel. You're literally reinventing an actual wheel that was already a perfectly fine wheel. There's a few things. A, being unique, obviously, having something that's very hard to replicate. A lot of people like to gatekeep the best they can. Opinions aside, three-piece conversions are great for gatekeeping because they're just difficult and expensive to do. And that alone is really going to keep people from doing it. You really don't need to gatekeep. They're expensive. So beware, they are expensive. And also, did I mention they're expensive? Yeah, just, I don't know how many times I need to reiterate it. They're expensive conversions. Do not do a three-piece conversion if you're looking to save money. That's definitely not a reason to do a three-piece conversion. So if you're going to be requesting a quote from me or someone else, be prepared for a big chunk of change. But you're gonna be getting something that's super unique, and wheels like this have been running since they were built with no problems, which is honestly very impressive. Because a lot of people will complain about the structure of the wheel not being capable to handle the stress, which is, in theory, you can run the numbers. They could magically just be designed good enough, just coincidentally, especially American style wheels, very American cars and such, especially old school wheels, were very much over engineered out of kind of laziness. So, you know, instead of engineering it to just last enough, you just built it bulletproof, and then you never had to worry about it dying and having it coming back for warranty. Just make it never break ever. Another reason why you want to do a 3-piece conversion, if you want to retain your factory wheels and you want to keep like a nice OEM look, you're going to be stepping up is about double the sizing, or about 2 inches. So if you have but you want to upsize your wheel size, which is really convenient. And just a little fun fact, when you do a conversion, normally the minimum, so if you have a 16-inch wheel like this wheel that you're looking at came from the factory as a 16-inch wheel, and now after conversion, it is now an 18-inch wheel. Because of how it was machined and the sizing, it ended up fitting that specifically for lips and barrels, and to go smaller is structurally not safe. Now, some wheels may vary, but rule of thumb, you're going to be going about 2 inches bigger than that previous size that you had on your wheels. So what machining is really, really needed for this? And before I explain how you're going to need to cut that barrel off, but lastly, you're really going to need to machine the profile, is the technical term, and that's going to be where the lip and the barrel, where this lip and barrel mounts to the face, or this center of the wheel, where the surfaces mate, or the mating surfaces is the technical term as well for that. That is going to be getting machined, and you want to machine it flat for sealing purposes and also for keeping it round and straight so the wheel drives good, because a out of round wheel drives pretty damn bad. So these wheels were built by Chamorro Boy 86. I don't know how to pronounce the name. I'm probably butchering it. I'm pretty sure his name is Lee. Shout out to Lee, a massive, massive person in the wheel community that's making some actually crazy sets. Now, I'm lucky enough to have my hands on one right here. They did a great job on these wheels, especially for lasting so long. When these first rolled in, I didn't even know they were like a converted wheel. I spun them around, and I looked at on the backside of that wheel, and I saw the barrel cut off, and I like scratched my head. I was like, what the hell? Because over the years, I think this customer lost their valve stem. Luckily, the fronts still have the valve stem, but you can see retains the factory valve hole. Adds a valve stem from behind, and I think he takes an OEM one and bends it, but you never know. But at the end of the day, that's the coolest part about it. You're getting a handmade, machined wheel exactly to your order. It does not get more personal than that. And from a creativity perspective, I'm just from like a vibes, artistic perspective, it's very nice to have that cool one-on-one old school artisan craft of working with someone that really loves what they're doing, that has a passion for it, the same passion that you have for something that you're willing to spend so much money on. So it makes it a lot easier to cut that check, because remember, these are a little bit expensive, but at the end of the day, they look absolutely awesome. You're gonna stand out so well, and you're gonna have a one-of-one made wheel that was handmade by someone you can look in the eyes and shake their hands. And that's something you can't say with a lot of other wheel brands. So thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. It's been a pleasure teaching you guys everything I can. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or even just anything that I've gotten wrong, please correct me. Leave it down below, and have a good one. Peace.